Yo, Freak Show, appreciate you clicking into the video. Today is going to be a part one of a two-part little video series. Series is kind of weird to say that. It's just like two different topics, but they kind of correlate off of the same thing. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about the Twitch DMCA warnings that went out for a lot of different people. So let's get into what is going on. All right, guys, again, thank you for clicking on the video. Thanks for giving the view. Think about hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button if it's your first time here. Really appreciate it. Anywho, this right here is one of the most interesting things that I have seen recently happen for Twitch streamers, and that is the whole mantra of DMCA. How do I explain this? DMCA warnings. I haven't heard of anybody getting a strike. I haven't heard of anything that's actually been like legally manifested out of any of this. More or less all speculation in and of itself, but apparently a lot of different streamers were given the warning or an email warning about playing copyrighted music and that their content had been hit with a DMCA complaint, DMCA claim, however you want to put it. Now, in utilizing that verbiage, that is a very, very concrete legal action that has to be taken seriously, in which a DMCA or a person who owns a copyright is now involving themselves in trying to gain the revenue off of a certain piece of content because you illegally used their copyright. And so with that, a lot of different streamers had quote unquote some content removed, whether that would be clips, whether that would be VODs, whatever that would be. But the problem is that nobody knows what content, where, who made the claim, Twitch was very, very vague. It just said that it happened. And so in viewing or looking around online on this and trying to gather up more information, I came across a very interesting video made by Alpha Gaming. I watch a lot of his content. He's really good for up and coming streamers and all that sort of stuff. So I would totally go check out his videos. If you haven't, that's Alpha Gaming on YouTube. Anyway, so he came up with a very interesting proclamation. I did not come up with this. I did not come up with this theory or this understanding, but he made a lot of good points and things that are very founded in fact and have a very good cohesion on exactly all the different parts that are happening. So first off, any kind of DMCA claim that happens is, like I said, a very legal matter, right? So things that come in that are being DMCA claimed have legal precedence, meaning that you shouldn't get rid of evidence, that you shouldn't, as far as like any kind of platform, they shouldn't alter or any of that sort of stuff, and that if that DMCA is there, you also have the legal right to dispute that DMCA claim, instead of your stuff just being taken or withheld, or however you can dispute it. That is your legal right, is that you have an argument over this piece of content. So moving on from that, Alpha Gaming said that the idea that Twitch just goes through and deletes all of this content, not to your knowledge, and just make sure that you're in the right, that don't worry, we protected you, streamer. He was saying that has grounds for a little bit of misconduct, if that's really true. And so it raises a red flag in his mind, and he has, you might not know this, but he has a copyright-free streaming music. It's called Stream Beats. So if you ever needed background music and that sort of stuff, he provides a service in which he has gotten a bunch of different creators to make a whole bunch of different songs or sounds or background sounds that last for in between, anywhere between a minute to 2 minutes to 3 minutes. And you can play those on your stream without having any problems with copyright claims or any of that sort of stuff. I use it on background for my stuff. There are different types of song genres and all that sort of stuff. Promise I'm not having any kind of correlation to this. It's literally just a good tool, and I'm just, talking about this. Anyway, so him having to deal with the idea of copyright in DMCA makes him a very viable cause on knowing the different parts of the industry that revolve around this. And so in his claims, he says that it is very possible that all of these quote unquote DMCA claims are I don't want to say fraudulent, but misleading in the fact that they're not real claims. They're more or less to try and drum up interest in a negative light for for the new stream songs, Twitch songs thing that they're bringing out, which is supposed to be copyright free music for all Twitch streamers, that if you utilize Twitch's copyright free system, then you won't have any DMCA claims at all. So his speculation and thought process, and totally a theory, there's no concrete evidence in it, but it makes perfect sense, is that Twitch would send out all of these different claims or these warnings to streamers to try and say, hey, use this service, and so that you don't have any of these problems in the future. It's very interesting to me, because even with it, they would throw out all of these claims or issues or whatever, and then still have VODs that have muted content on them. So I don't understand how the two keep a juxtaposition with each other. Like, I don't understand how you would get rid of some content that is copyrighted, and then on the other side keep content that's copyrighted but just mute it so that that part isn't actually on the VOD or whatever. So I was very confused. I was very confused when I first heard it, and it didn't make much sense to me, but in an understanding of what Alpha Gaming has actually projected in front of us about the entire synopsis of everything, it does make a lot of sense. Now, he does go on to state in his video that he may have been a little biased in his interpretation, just due to the fact that he does have a competitor to Twitch's non-copyright music in the fact that he has Stream Beats. But I still don't think, I still think that his logic is really, really good. So I don't think that his theory is in malintent or in a light that shouldn't be propagated with respect or an understanding. It does make very good sense, but at the same time, he does have a little bit of a tinfoil hat on for the entire censure or the entire issue that is placed before us. So moving into the second side, we have the idea of what Twitch actually did with the emails. On the other side of this, the DMCA claims are very, very interesting in and of themselves. I've always found it very, very peculiar that the music industry does not like the idea of artists being able to get reach on their own, be able to get so basically, this is what I'm getting at, all right? So if you have a huge streamer, you have a big streamer who is like 50,000 viewers, right? And an artist wants their song played in front of those 50,000 viewers, because not only do 50,000 ears hear, some of those ears are going to be like, man, what song is this? I like listening to this. I'm going to go stream it on Spotify, YouTube, blah, 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 any of the things that have a streaming type service. So that exposure to those 50,000 pair of ears are going to then propagate into more streams and more ad revenue by them focusing and getting out to other stuff. So in the fact of this whole, copyright driven music industry where people need to have a broadcaster license for the radio, in which the radio plays and, plays a portion and pays a royalty fee to the copyright holder in order to play certain songs. On the flip side of that, I feel like the idea of getting all of these ears to hear all of this music free of charge, and then having those consumers go, man, I really like that song. I like this artist. I think I should go get more albums. I should stream their music more. All of that kind of mantra moves into a spot where you're actually getting out free advertising for your music, instead of you controlling all of the music that comes through and you deciding what sounds good or what the masses should hear. This is the juxtaposition of what we're moving into the new age. I've seen many TikToks. I've seen many artists who claim that we tried to get in with this record label, but the record label didn't like it. It didn't have this, that, or whatever. And so they weren't going to propagate the song. Well, a lot of those artists are like, yo, TikTok, do you like this song? Do you think it's good? And then if it genuinely has a good sound or people are vibing with it, they will play that song. They will go to Spotify and they will play that song and they will listen to it while they're doing other things as far as, regular day-to-day activities. And so literally the credentials of the song of its own stand firm. In the second part of this series, we'll talk about the comparison of this and how it relates into the video streaming industry. And it's the same correlation. The content that is being presented, meaning the song, the video game, the whatever, the app that you built on an app store, any of that sort of stuff, if there is good quality and good value inside of that creation, then those people get rewarded for that. The problem that we have here is that the music industry is trying to control what gets monetized and what is available, when what they should be doing is getting free advertisement from other people playing it, and then having all of those people who were exposed to it have an interest in watching or in streaming it, in listening to it, and in all of that sort of stuff. They would go out on their own and get more revenue for it. And so I feel like we have an antiquated system with the music industry in which the only way that music or content of that nature was propagated was through the radio. And that's one of the biggest ways that music industry was able to make money. Well, they're still sitting in that mindset, whereas we now have all sorts of facets to get the music out to the people, in which we can have exposure for free and then have everybody go buy it because they love it so much. If somebody hears a song on a stream in 2 minutes and they really, really like that song, they're not going to hear it again on that stream probably for like a couple of days, or they might not hear it for, until the next stream or something like that, but they have it stuck in their head and they like it. They like the hook. They like the verses. They like the lyric. I don't really care what you kind of go with it. And it moves you into going to get that song on your own. There's also the flip side. So Summit 1G made an argument on this, and I thought it was really, really good. He goes, hey, I understand these DMCA claims are out there, but the music is not what's happening here. So there's fair use that happens. And the fact of like, you're able to take content and then be able to not manipulate, but shift it, right? You're using it as evidence and then commentating on it or moving it further down the line and expounding upon whatever's happening. And this falls underneath Fair Use Act. It's not a literal grab something and re-upload it and that becomes the content for your channel, in which that is a problem. There is a fair use clause that if you have a segment of your video that is utilized and then you commentate out the rest of it, or if you use sparing parts of it to try and make a point or make an effort, and that you're transforming the content over the course of your video, then it's okay to use. That's what fair use does. And so Summit made the argument that, look, it's background noise. It's literally very, very small sounds in the background of my stream, in which I'm completely talking over, making fun. It's something to fill the dead space that if I stop talking, you actually hear something instead of it literally being dead air like you just heard on this video. So I think Summit makes a really good point. I feel like the music industry is in the ancient times of trying to monetize every single play that happens, which is not the correct terms. Alpha Gaming has a theory on how to make this actually relevant for everybody else, in that you calculate how many viewers are at a certain time on a certain channel. You average those views, make them like 1/50th of a song listen or 1/100th of a song listen, and add that into the streamable so that Spotify is then, paying out some stuff. In the fact of wanting to have streamers have a broadcasting license, like a radio type thing, I'm maybe a little bit biased because I'm a streamer, but on the fact of I sit on Summit's side and say that I know many, many artists would want to have ears on their music than to have to worry about making sure they make 2 pennies off of a listen. The exposure would be much better because people will have stuff stuck in their head, and then when they don't have the opportunity to listen to it, they will go find it from whatever platform. Anyway, this has been my 2 cents or my 2 thoughts on this entire exposition. Like I said, there will be a part 2 of this video, or not necessarily a part 2, but a second part to this video in which some other stuff spawned off of this DMCA stuff. We'll have that later on the channel, probably the next day, whenever this gets actually posted. But anyway, I appreciate you taking the time to watch all the way to this part of the video. If you would, think about leaving a like, hitting the sub button. I do stream every single day on Twitch. If that interests you, you can come on over and hang out with me. I'll talk to you about anything and everything. Really, really love ya. Leave a comment down below if you have any rebuttals to this, if you think the DMCA strikes were legit, if you have, any kind of evidence to supporting any of the facts or anything. Really, really appreciate all the spike and subscription. I hope that you'll have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Deuces.